One of the things that you talk about is 10,000 hours of focus practice. It was in the book, The Talent Code, and you've also talked about as well the need for players to be self-motivated, to be self-driven. Now, the other side of that is creating an environment and atmospheres where players can get better without it being an organized training session. What are some of your suggestions on how coaches can embed in their structure, their teams, ways for players to discover the game without structure, without cones, without bibs and pennies? What do you suggest coaches do to accomplish that?
Well, it's a tough one because the environment of kids changed completely to 20 years ago. I mean, nobody lets their kids run off the street anymore and hang out at local schools just, because they want to make sure that, they're supervised. They want to make sure that they are safe. So it's different to how we grew up. We could take the bike and go off and play whatever we wanted to play. But I think there's still an opportunity out there where we can encourage the kids, to play extra amount of time, soccer, however they want to play it, if it's against the wall, if it's, with some kids in a park, and I maybe just walk along and hang out there, or if I offer some extra sessions in an uncontrolled way, just giving them the safe environment. I think there are ways to kind of occupy their time in a certain way a little bit better, if it's maybe on an extra day where they have no training session, in order that just to stimulate. So give them just that piece of stimulating kind of extra push that they played more. The talent code, the 10,000 hour theory is certainly right. I mean, a kid that plays in Buenos Aires 5 hours a day will always be ahead of the curve than a kid that plays 3 or 4 training sessions, 1.5 hours each, in a controlled environment. But I also think, and it's in that book as well, or other lectures, is that doesn't mean that it has to stay that way. Because now, today and tomorrow, I can make the difference. I can add. So I'm trying to tell the players here, you know what, if you have the time, you can do this extra work, and you stretch it out over 1 year. If every national team player says, I'm going to go for 1 extra run a week, that's 52 sessions. Mm-hmm. That's huge, that makes a big difference. So everyone in his own environment can make actually a big difference by just being a little bit more creative and coming up with some ideas, and maybe invite the kids on a special day for futsal or for any other kind of, or even playing a game of basketball, the run around and do, because we're getting more and more challenged in our society nowadays, with the time management of our children, with all these electronics floating around, phones and iPads and all that stuff, it's taking our kids away from us. Yes. So we got to be creative and find hopefully ways, and it's the same for me challenging than for every other parent, is to, that doesn't really make sense, and it would be better if he plays hoops or soccer at that time.